Hi, I'm Emma with the SCPD, and today I'm interviewing our College of Business Dean, Mark Suazo. I'm going to be asking him a few questions. I'm going to say hello.
Thank you. Welcome. I welcome the opportunity to speak. I'm happy to be here. Only 3 months, but very excited.
Yay! Hello! We are joined with our Dean, Mark Suazo. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Nice to be
Yay!
out here today on a nice sunny day.
I know, seriously, we're getting beaten down a little bit, but we are so grateful that you're joining us. We're so excited. All right, I'm going to start off with what resources or support systems helped you succeed as a first-generation college student, and how can students access similar support here?
That's a great question because, as a first generation college student, I really was clueless about what it meant to get a college degree. So I had a lot of obstacles to overcome. And I found for me the greatest support were, number one, my fellow students, but any programs on campus. Now, my undergraduate degree is electrical engineering. So at my university, which was University of New Mexico, I got involved in like the Hispanic Engineering Organization, any organization that would help me sort of get to the finish line, right? So we have that here on campus as well. I mean, get involved with student clubs. AppSoc is a great example, I think, because I think that one of the things that you learn is you learn just as much outside of school as you do in the classroom. And that's what I think I learned is that there's so much support out there that's not even part of the formal program. So get involved is my advice.
I love it. I definitely agree. I'm part of AMA, subtle plug, but it has been more than helpful. I love going every single week. Everyone, it's such a community too within your business classes, and because we all take the same classes together, you start to recognize people. So definitely helps starts building your foundation, I guess here.
I agree, and it reminds me of a story, and I've shared this with a couple of students, so they might remember it. Is when I was an undergraduate student, my school is not a well-known school. It's not sort of one of these big names, but each year they would send people to this contest. It was basically a tournament of elimination. So East Coast versus West Coast. So I ended up being chosen as my school to represent. So the long story short of it is, you know, it's a single elimination tournament. At the end of every year, it'd be MIT versus Caltech, East versus West,
Yeah, I
right?
love it.
Well, I ended up beating the Caltech person eventually, and I beat the
Wow.
MIT person, right? And that kind of really gave me a lot of confidence for what I could do because I thought I came from a not a big name school, but I beat the biggest name in engineering, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of my goals here as the new dean is I want all of the students of the College of Business to have their MIT moment like I did, so that you guys can know that you can compete with anybody out there. I'm convinced of that.
That's so awesome. That'd be like confidence for the rest of my life.
It is, yeah, yeah, because we have great faculty. We're AACSB accredited, which means we can compete. We're the same accreditation as all the big name schools.
Yes, love it. Doesn't matter where you go,
It
it's
doesn't.
where it gets you.
That's right.
Love it. What message would you like to share with Latin and Indigenous students who would like to pursue leadership positions in their academic and professional careers like you have?
Great question. I think again, going back to my suggestion of being involved with student organizations, that's how you start. Volunteer, start maybe just as a member, understand what the organizations are like, and slowly get involved as a leader. Start as whatever it might be. Vice president, president, and that's where you're going to learn some of the same skills when I was a student that I still use to this day. You learn about things like time management is particularly important.
Mm-hmm.
You understand group dynamics, and you understand the importance of compromise, for instance. So there's some of the key takeaways that I think that everybody can get by being in an organization. Also, just talk to your professors. Ask them,
Mm-hmm.
what do you know that is on cutting edge research in terms of being a leader? They're more than willing to help you and tell you like the research says this, or we used to think this was the way to do it. Now it's more this way. So take advantage of real world and also what theory says about it.
Definitely, and we're very lucky. We have a very diverse and well-educated staff, definitely accessible to the students. That's so great. In what ways do you see the College of Business embracing diversity and supporting students from underrepresented backgrounds?
I think that's one of our strengths when I look at our college.
Mm-hmm.
And to be frank, that's part of the reason I was very happy to have been chosen as dean here, because we have countless programs, and we could probably be here for 10 minutes just listing off all the programs. But again, I would encourage the students to make sure that you're aware of there's enough activities in the college and the university, for that matter, that embraces the idea that we're stronger because of diversity, because your background makes you who you are, right? So we can all learn from one another through those differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so accepting here of differences. And I think it's great that people are so because that's the value of coming to a school like this. So I would encourage people to get to know people who are not like you. You know, it challenges you. Makes you understand things from a different perspective, which is very, very valuable all of life, not just for work. And the other thing is to find your community. It's important to feel like you
Mhm.
belong. So again, try to get involved as much as you can on campus, because I'll tell you, as a faculty member, I stay in contact with many of my former students, and almost to a student, the biggest complaint to me is, or regret I should say, is they say, I wish I had done more while I was in college. I really regret not being more involved.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I definitely like coming here has been like the best culture shock ever because we do not actually have a very big Latinx representation in Baltimore. We
Sure.
have more of an African American population, so
Right.
that is a lot more of what I'm used to. But here it's like it's been so cool, like learning about everyone's different cultures, like that one event that we have where it's like all the dances and all
Sure.
the dress and the food that's all different. I like it's beautiful. It's so fun to watch. It's been such a treat. So
Great. I'm happy to hear you enjoyed it.
yeah, yeah. It's like it's completely new to me, but like in the best way.
Sure.
Where
Yeah.
I'm like I feel like I get to explore and I'm all curious.
And it's reciprocal. The students are learning from you as well, because you
Mhm.
end up having conversations, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely reaching out to students is one of my favorite things.
That's great.
Okay. In a recent interview, you mentioned that students were chosen to be part of this school because you believe in them. What advice do you have for students who are finding a sense of belonging here at the beach?
Great question. And again, I want to go back to what I said earlier. You know, you were chosen, you were selected to be a student here because we know that you can succeed. So I want to make sure that you know that every student should know there are resources for you. If you're struggling, get help immediately. If your grades aren't where they should be, go to tutoring. Find someone. Maybe your first line would be talk to your professor. You know, I'm struggling this. Even if they're not the professor you're struggling with, they can still help you. So go through understand that we have so many options out there, even beyond professors. You know, maybe go to um, student advising. What kind of advice might they have? Talk to your fellow students. There's no better teachers than your fellow students, because they've been there before. They understand the same trials and tribulations. So I'd say you have a wealth of resources out here that I encourage you to take advantage of everything that we have to offer.
Wow, that's wonderful. It makes me feel like you were at my stats tutoring. All right, a little bonus question for the end. If I was talking to second grade Mark right now, what would he say he wants to be when he grows up?
Great question. I don't know why, but somehow in my mind, I always thought I'd be a business person, which is
Really?
in a way sort of ironic because I ended up in a business school, and yet my undergraduate degree is electrical engineering. So
Yes.
I made it. I don't want to say a bad choice, but my choice, the way I made my choice for my undergraduate degree was not a good one. My
Hmm.
criteria was first generation student. I need to find a job. So that's what I asked my counselors. What am I guaranteed to get a job?
Well,
And they said electrical engineering, you will 100% get a job. And I enjoyed being an engineer, but it really didn't fit me, you
mm,
know. So that's my advice to students as well. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to find the right major. You will find it eventually. You know, you might sort
mhm,
of go through a couple of majors, figure out what you're really passionate about. Because once you find what you're passionate about, it's no longer work.
mm.
It's a joy to come in. You know, it's just such a pleasure, for instance, to be here. Now that I'm as a business dean, but even as a business professor, I could see a complete change in my mentality. Prior to that, it was just a job. Now it's more of like a lifestyle, and it's just so
Mm.
much more enjoyable. So I just encourage everybody, find your passion, and you'll be happy.
That's wonderful. You're like the embodiment of like it's never too late. It's
It
still
is.
you can still go for what you want.
It's not too late. I before I finally settled in business, I had gone through probably 4 or 5 different majors, choosing different majors,
Wow.
so that by the time I graduated, I had enough for like 3 or 4 minors because I was
Yeah, I was gonna
testing the
say you had
waters.
all the credits knocked out. That's awesome though. Like college is definitely to explore what you're passionate about.
Exactly, exactly. Now's the time to experiment, right? And it's okay to fail every once in a while. That's how
Mhm.
you learn.
And you wouldn't say like the extra classes that you took, they weren't like waste of your time or anything, right?
No, not at all. In fact, it helped me because as an engineering student, we were so focused on just engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have very much exposure to the liberal arts. So that's what I took all my electives on. And I took far beyond what I needed. So, for instance, I had enough, not that it's liberal arts, but I had enough electives for a minor in economics.
Oh.
Or I would challenge myself to take things I had never done before, like I didn't know anything about country western music, so I took country western dancing. And it was fun just to learn something completely different, you know.
Totally, and it makes you like more well-rounded, and like you were saying earlier, like celebrating other people's differences. The more knowledge you obtain just as a person, like just I think it makes you a better human being, a happier human being.
I
I
think
just
so.
If you love to learn, you'll love life.
Yes, I like that saying. I'm going to steal that if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Or
100%.
borrow it. Yes,
You're
I'll borrow.
borrowing it from my mom, so no worries.
Okay.
All right, that's all the questions that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. My pleasure, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yay! All right.